This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on what's happening with us and what's happening in the world of video games.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month, you gain access to not one, but two extra podcasts from yours truly. Take out a monthly commentary track, and that's hell you're walking into. A podcast where I inflict a dozen curse status effects on Ben in order to extra supercharge my new Van Gogh servant's noble phantasm, because that's her gimmick. You think that sound, go ahead.
You just see me like taking damage in like the billions because the scaling has gotten that high.
the power scaling's gone a little absurd. Yeah, absolutely. If you think that sounds like a good time, then you can head on over to patreon.com/thegorge and sign up today. We appreciate every single dollar, truly.
We appreciate our patrons who are Acomancer, HassoToby27, Jack Toops, Liam Lane, Saturn, Otzi, Roddy One Half, Alice Marks, Josh Kaysen, Magus, and that other one dude. Thank you guys.
See, I can't believe we have so many people who pay us to talk about this shit. It's incredible. If this list gets any longer, we're gonna have to find a way somewhere else to stick it. But right? Either way, hey, hey Ben, this is an awful early roundup.
Yeah, we had some scheduling and planning situations for this month.
You see, I can explain myself, because we were supposed to do Hades, and then the PS5 came out, and I forgot. I was just like, I'm gonna play Miles Morales, and then I played a lot of Miles Morales for 2 days.
Yeah, this past extended weekend that could have been spent playing Hades was spent playing the new big shiny box.
I got a new toy and I want to play with it, and basically no power on earth could stop me from doing so. So instead I was like, crap. So we're doing an early round?
Yeah.
Look, there's enough news to talk about. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been enough going on.
Yeah.
Plus, we're not doing a roundup in December, possibly, maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? We plan this podcast by the seat of our pants at every possible turn. And again, people give us money for that. Thank you. So, that being said,
what have you done this past few weeks?
Obviously played Hades, which is quite good. We'll talk about that later, but the short version is it's quite good. It's extremely fun to play. It's a weird thing. The act of actually pressing buttons in Hades feels very good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very the responsiveness, and it's all very well designed. Like I said, we'll probably spend 2 hours talking about it next week. But I extremely enjoy Hades. I also have played a little bit. Okay, so I got my PS5 and I got 2 games. I got Miles Morales and I got DMC5 Special Edition. Obviously, both of them are $40. Yeah. Both of them are $40. So if the cost of one new PS5 game, I can get basically 2. Like, I spent $80 instead of $70. I think that's a pretty good little trade-off. And when I got home and plugged in the PS5 and got it all set up, I played Miles Morales first, and so switching between those 2 games is really not ideal. Like, they're very different headspaces. So I played the first little bit of I played the first mission of DMC5 Special Edition as Virgil. I like it. I like playing as Virgil. It's very, once you unlock more of his combos, which are coming, I feel like I will enjoy it more, because that's when you can start doing all the bonkers chaining together stuff. But this is a fresh save, so I'm very, very early in my DMC5 Special Edition playthrough. But, I mean, it's Devil May Cry 5. It's a good video game. It's my game of the year 2019. So, yeah, of course, it's DMC5. You can't go wrong. It's a great game. And then I played Miles Morales, which I didn't play the first Spider-Man game on PS4. I know you did, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Clearly. That game's good.
It's real good.
It's real good. So I never played the first one, and I did not realize how good the swinging is. And it took me a minute to get used to it. Like the first mission in that game where you're chasing down Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
I kept fucking it up because I was just like really adapting to the swinging, and it was just not, I just couldn't get it. But now, after a little bit of like playing around with it, I'm like, oh, I get it. Oh, I love it.
The swinging, and we'll talk more about this when we do like our actual PS5 episode, but like, the swinging is great, and I guess you might have trouble getting used to it if you're not used to how much control you actually have.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like, you have a ton of aerial control, and I can see people being like, oh, I need to complete my arc before I let go. No, you can let go whenever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, there's so much control, and there's so many, like, ways to get around, like, running on buildings and vaulting yourself, and, like, there's a lot of using your momentum, and it all feels like, oh god, it all feels so good. I spent an absurd amount of time just swinging around. Like, literally just swinging around New York, having a good old fucking time. Because it's such a blast.
Quick question, though. Are you playing in performance mode or visual mode?
I'm playing in visual mode. I'm
really?
Enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's so pretty. I just want to look at some. Pretty, some ray trace shit. Look. I spent $500 on this fucking box. I want the game that I spent $500 to look pretty on. I'll play DMC5 in 60 frames per second mode.
I played with performance for a little bit, or with visual for a little bit. And I was like, ooh, look at the ray tracing. You can see Miles' reflection in the reflection of the city.
Right.
That looks great. Awesome. And then I turned it off, and I was like, oh my god, it's 60 frames a second. Oh my god.
I should switch over to see what it looks like and how it plays. But I've just been enjoying, like I said, I spent a lot of money on this box. I want this game to look pretty. I want to have, like... I do know I need a new TV. Like, I can't play DMC5 at 4K, 120 frames per second mode, because my TV is too old. They're like, no, it has to have a certain refresh rate to do that, right? Mm-hmm. My TV is like 10 years old. And so my poor little Samsung is finally just like sputtering and being like, we can't do it anymore. I'm sorry. I can't carry you any further.
You want us to display how many frames?
You want us to do how many pixels? No, I'm sorry, ma'am. No.
Could you fucking imagine being someone who, like, gets their PS5 running on, like, a CRTV?
God, yes. If you're out there and you do that, you're my hero. I would love to see that. I think it'd be hilarious. How would you even do that? You would have to have a converter from your HDMI to a component. Does those exist?
I don't think so. Oh
my god.
I think that's like, why would you ever want to go backwards?
I don't know. I love a good CRT, I still have one. It doesn't work anymore, but I still have one in my house. And
well, that's because you can't move it out of your house.
Yeah, it is actually extremely heavy. I'm using it for when society collapses and I need it to barter with Smash Brothers players.
Yeah. When you need when the Melee players come hunting for the last CRT.
Yeah, exactly. I can use it to barter for food and water and safe passage, Just walking around the wasteland with a CRT strapped to my back.
They fucking got those personal carriages for pharaohs, but there's a big CRT in it because you need 8 people to carry it.
Just lugging it around. Yeah, absolutely. Just show up to a bunch of, I would say unwashed Smash players, but that's a tautology. So,
but you repeat yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's fine. And I trade them, and then I'll use it for something useful while they keep playing, Smash. It's cool. But then, other than that, what else? Because I don't want to talk about the PS5 too much, because we're going to do that next month and have ourselves a nice little gush fest.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I should pick up. I think I kind of want to pick up Bug Snacks. Like,
I actually do want to play Bug Snacks pretty
well,
badly.
It's on PlayStation Plus, and I'm thinking, like, I could get like 12 months of PS Plus is $60, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's a pretty good little deal. You get free games all the time, and it's the PS Plus game right now, so I'm like, I could get PS Plus and play Bug Snacks and see what it's like, because it's cute. And I want to give it a shot. I want to try a bunch of other little games for PS4. And then, of course, like, old games playing on PS4 to see what they look like. Like, I really want to try, like, Tsushima and stuff. Like, I really want to try Tsushima.
I've heard Tsushima's like a completely different game on PS5.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Running just a smooth 60 the whole time, and you're just in tears because it's so beautiful, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
What else would be good? I want to try Horizon on it, obviously. Like all the Sony stuff I want to try.
I mean, there's also regular Spider-Man. You get the
regular
enhanced
Spider-Man
edition.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I might.
At this point, it's basically the same price to get either the PS4 or the enhanced version if you already have Miles.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you can, if you buy Miles, you can. I think you can buy it through the game. Through Miles, you can buy it for like $20, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I probably will cop that then, because I'm enjoying swinging around so much that I might as well. I'll have to deal with new Peter's weird child face, but
it doesn't look as bad in motion, like in the cutscenes he's in Miles. Like, it doesn't look as bad.
I don't know, man. I still think it looks pretty rough.
I'll be honest. I didn't like his PS4 face.
I mean,
actually, so when I see this, I'm like, I don't really care. It looks on equal levels to me. Neither of them match their voices anymore, which is the thing I've said before. And again, we'll talk about that next month. But what else have I been playing? I feel like I played other things. I played a little bit more of Dread X Collection. I need to finish that. I like it a lot. I like horror anthologies. I think it's really good. Mm-hmm. It's super worth it. I didn't play this, but I watched it. Sorry. I watched the Scary Game Squad. Did I talk about this? Play Amnesia Rebirth? Have I talked to you about this? You talked about the Scary Game Squad before, but I don't think you mentioned Rebirth. They played Amnesia.
Okay. I don't know if this counts as like a thing to talk about, but I kind of want to, because like Amnesia Rebirth is really interesting. I've never played an Amnesia game, I should say. It's interesting. It's not scary. Like it's not even remotely scary. Like,
all right.
At no point watching this have I been scared, but I have been unnerved and creeped out, which honestly might be worth more. I think I might actually kind of want to play this, but, just because there's multiple endings, so it's an excuse to play it even after watching other people play it. But it is a fascinating, like, setting, and it goes in, like, really wild places, and, like, you play, it's very BioShock, wherein you start out on a plane, and then the plane crashes, and you find yourself in a horrible situation, but you're, like, a woman named Tazi, and, like, the plane carrying you and your husband crashes over the Algerian, I think it's Algiers, the Algerian desert, and when you wake up, like, everybody else from the plane is gone, and you have to figure out what happened, and it takes like a really crazy otherworldly turn that I was not expecting, and just kind of like the aesthetics and all kinds of weird stuff. It's very fascinating. I like it. I don't think it's scary, like I said, but I have definitely been enjoying it because it's got a lot kind of going on. There's like a lot of really good art and good music, and great voice acting. Oh my god, incredible voice acting. And like a lot of just like fucked up concepts that kind of that really stick in your head. Like that's the thing, is that the reason I was like, am I really going to talk about watching an LP on the podcast? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about watching an LP on the podcast, because there's like a lot of like concepts that are being introduced that are good horror. You ever like read a horror short story and you can't stop thinking about it?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like what you mean by that.
Yeah, like when they introduce an idea in a horror story and you cannot stop thinking about it.
The one that always gets me, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was from one of the shitstorms from either last year or a year back. I mean, I have to go through fucking like 90 plus videos to find the one I'm thinking of, but it was the concept was the idea of like someone gets kidnapped and has surgery performed on them to remove the bones in their arm and then leave the muscles and skin intact. And like what would that look like? What would that look like to move, like try to move the muscles without that structure?
Like that.
Yeah, it always stuck with me because I'm like, that's horrible.
Well, yeah, like, so, like a good example is, I've talked about this, I definitely have talked this on the podcast before, but Joe Hill's Strange Weather, he's Stephen King's son, and he wrote this, like, it's 4 stories, it's like an anthology of 4 stories, and the second one, which, I can't remember what it's called right now, but, like, it just stuck with me for days, and I could not stop, because it's about, like, gun violence, and it's about, like, really realistic gun violence, and I just couldn't get it out of my head, and I was just literally, like, laying around for days just thinking about, like, oh my god, why did I read that? It's literally like when you kind of regret reading something, because it messes with you so much.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Rebirth has been kind of sticking in my head a lot, is, like, these really horrific concepts of like, obviously Silent Hill 3 kind of squicked me because there's a lot of talk about childbirth, sex and childbirth in Silent Hill 3. And this game is also about those things in, like, a really aggressive way. and I like it because I like my media messing with me, of course.
Right.
But it's also just stuck in my craw, and I can't stop thinking about some of the stuff that it introduces, like these ideas of harvesting, fear, and introducing like hope, and then oblivion, and then pain, and then reintroducing fear after that again. And it's just like, oh, it's dire. I don't know, it makes your skin crawl, and you just keep thinking about it over and over. So I guess I'm gonna play Amnesia Rebirth at some point, because I've enjoyed watching other people play it so much that I kind of just want to, like, see if I find other stuff that they've missed, because obviously LP Brain does make people miss things. So I might report back on that one. But yeah, just watching somebody else play it, I think it's a recommend. Like, I think you could enjoy. Like I said, it's not scary. It has, like, scary monsters in it, and but it's also like, God bless this team. Who makes these games? Frictional Amnesia. Hold on. Who makes not? Frictional Games! Yeah, I got it right. I thought so. God bless Frictional. They really only have one kind of monster in their games. They really need to branch out. It's the whole, like, oh god, this thing is coming for me, I gotta hide.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like those kind of monsters. They do it in Soma, too. And, they also have a lot of fucked up concepts going on in Soma. Oh,
Soma is I think it's interesting that you can just turn the monsters off and, like, it doesn't change anything in the game, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the exact same thing would apply here. I mean, there's, like, some sneaking around to be done and some tension that maybe works better in Soma, but I don't know. They need to branch out and try something else with their monsters, because they've done this for every single one of their games at this point. And that's maybe the one big knock against it, is that they definitely have not branched out much in that department. So if you think that's kind of a drag, then it continues to be a drag. But yeah, I still think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in here. And yeah, Is it weird to recommend a game that I haven't even played yet?
No, not at all.
Okay, because I do think this is a good video game just from watching other people. I'm like, no, this is a good video. It's a very solid video game of and exploring like, kind of a neat, two very neat underexplored settings, because there's the Algerian desert and all the stuff that's there, and a lot of redacted stuff that I can't talk about because it's huge spoilers.
Right.
But yeah, no. Amnesia Rebirth, it's good. And then, last but not least, just to talk about, like, one thing I watched, because, like, I don't watch a lot of stuff. I mostly just, like, play things and,
Mm-hmm.
But I did watch, somebody on Tumblr, of all things, linked me to, this is sound extremely lame, but it's called SCP Overlord. I literally watched it 2 days ago. And it's like an SCP short film, like the SCP Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And SCP is extremely overdone. Like, I was on 4chan back when SCP was new. So, like when I say SCP is extremely overdone, no one is more tired of it than me.
Yeah, it's definitely run its course at this point.
It's extremely run its course, but this was pretty good. It's an independent short, like a 30-minute short film, by this channel that does that previously makes like movies using video games, like basically machinima, but very well produced machinima.
Mm-hmm.
And not just like using pre-existing video games, but also like using the what is the engine that runs Half-Life? Why am I suddenly blanking?
Source?
Yeah.
Source
using
filmmaker?
Using Source and stuff like that, like other engines, like Unity as well, to build actual maps and video games that these movies are kind of like set in. But this is an actual live action movie. And it's about and again, this all sounds extremely lame when you say it out loud, but it is about like an SCP strike team thing. But it isn't like asshole machismo, like Call of Duty horse shit. It's just kind of very like slow and methodical, and there's no jump scares or anything like that. It's just like an atmospheric kind of tone thing, and introducing like weird spooky concepts, and like it's extremely well shot and has really good music. Like that was what was impressing me the most the whole time I was watching it. It was like, it doesn't look cheap, and I think they kickstarted it, so they actually had some money to work with. But it doesn't look cheap, and it doesn't look bad, and it's actually pretty good. Like, I was really surprised by the end of it. I was like, oh, I actually really liked that. It was just a good little short horror movie. And, yeah, I liked it. I mean, it has some little cheap aspects. Like, they probably could have spent more money on everybody's uniforms to actually look like real strike team uniforms. But they actually do a really neat thing where, because everybody is wearing, like, cool, like, tactical helmets, it does mean that they get over... So, like, in a lot of independent movies, it's always, like, one guy and all of his friends making a movie,
Right, yeah.
And they're not very good actors.
Of course.
But it's, So, and this is clearly, like, a guy and all of his friends making a movie again, but just with, like, a, an Ari Alexa 5000 doing the shooting this time. But they get over the bad voice acting, or the bad acting. I just gave it away. Everybody's wearing tactical helmets, so they overdub it with voice actors.
Ooh, like known voice actors?
Not like known voice actors, but like people who are pretty good. Like, all of the voice acting is really solid. So because everybody's like talking through radios, they can use like radio static to kind of conceal that it's voice actors.
Oh, like Red versus Blue style?
Yeah.
Cool.
And it actually kind of worked. I was like, oh yeah, that actually kind of gets over that hurdle that always happens with independent film, with extremely cheap independent film, not like well-produced independent film. This movie was probably made on a budget of like $10,000 if I had to guess, And so they kind of got over that hurdle by being able to pay like voice actors instead of having to ship in, actors from all over. And it actually worked extremely well. Like, I was really impressed the whole time. I think the effects are really well done, and there's a lot of kind of spooky imagery. I don't know. I guess I've been in a spooky mood lately.
I guess.
I'm always in a mood for scary shit. And yeah, I actually liked it. I was just kind of pleasantly surprised because somebody was like, "You should check this out. You think you'd like it?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And yeah, I actually did. So it's called Overlord. It's by Evan Royalty. That's the name of the YouTube channel or something like that.
Huh.
And yeah, I'd say check it out. I liked it. So
Cool.
You're up.
All right. So I didn't play too much besides, PS5 stuff. So I'll go over what I did beyond that. So last month we talked about how No More Heroes 1 and 2 got ported to Switch. Mm-hmm. So I picked up those, and then I also picked up Travis Strikes Again.
Oh yeah, did you play that?
Yes, so that's the one I decided to play out of the three, because it's the only one I haven't played yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't gotten very far in it. It's not bad. I'm definitely glad we're getting No More Heroes 3.
Yeah.
It's
because it's like a bunch of mini games, right?
It's just a top-down arcadey, not even like a twin stick shooter. It's but like in that same vein of like, top down, and then you just have a heavy attack, you have a light attack, and there's a bunch of enemies that spawn in, and you kind of hack through them. You have a dodge and a jump, and that's about it, really. You have some super moves you can equip, but that's really about it as far as gameplay goes. Like, there's no complexity to it at all.
Sure.
It's a very good short burst game.
Right.
Like, you can play
a little bit at a time.
Yeah, you can just go through it a little bit at a time. It's dripping with Suda51 aesthetic.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we watched, because we actually saw some of the like game trailers and shit from that at MomoCon. Like
just all over pixelated graffiti, 80s sound effects, crunchy, like digitized voices, Western Japanese combined aesthetic.
Okay, yeah.
Just the absolute brim of Suda51.
Bursting with Suda51's like personal aesthetics, yeah.
Like a character goes on a big rant about the importance of ramen stands.
Oh yeah, okay.
And how significant they are to Japanese culture. Every new enemy you meet is accompanied by like a very crunchy, that old muffled arcade voiceover clip, but like Faith.
Oh yeah.
Faith
yeah,
style.
Yeah.
That kind.
that very grindy kind of sound. Okay.
So I do like that, and I know that by the end, there's actually a pretty weird twist that happens that's going to lead into No More Heroes 3. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to just get to the end to see that.
Sure.
Also, I'm really glad because when they first announced this, it was during the voice actor strike. So Travis wasn't played by Robin Atkin Downs, and I'm glad it ended when this game was still in development so that he could come back and actually do the voice, because it's not...
we don't play games with scabs in them unless they have scabs in them and we didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to keep up sometimes.
Sometimes.
I don't know when a game was in production, was this during the strike? Did they record this before or after?
Are you a bunch of scabs?
Wait, what? Who?
Yeah.
Wait, are we sure that's actually that character, that voice actor, though? Because there's no name in the credits. And
right.
I don't know anymore. But no, this is definitely Robin Atkin Downs. Like, you can tell as soon as he takes damage.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I'm glad they got him back. It's interesting. It is interesting because there's a co-op feature, right?
Okay.
The gimmick of the game is that Travis gets sucked into a video game, right? And that's why you have these like arcadey style missions. The co-op person is Badman, who is Bad Girl's father from No More Heroes 1, the second rank assassin.
Yeah, I know who Bad Girl is, trust me.
Yeah, so he's taking his revenge on Travis, and they both get sucked into the game together.
Yeah, awesome, okay.
And there is apparently a DLC version where you can play as Shinobu and Bad Girl instead.
superior video game. Anytime we can play Shinobu, I'm on board with.
I'm really hoping she's in No More Heroes. Well, no, we've seen her in No More Heroes 3. I hope she's playable in No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, exactly. Please.
So yeah, that's a pretty good in terms of like spin-off.
Sure.
Like, you know,
it's
funny
better.
'cause,
It's better because we got a sequel.
Yeah, it's called Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes because it's not a No More Heroes game.
Right, yeah, it's very explicitly a spin-off.
Yeah. Speaking of spin-offs, I also did start up Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory.
Okay.
That came out the same day as PS5, so I imported all my PS4 save data to my PS5.
Right.
That is also just, so far, it is what it is. It's a rhythm game.
Right.
I'm not an expert on rhythm games. I played a lot of Guitar Hero and Rock Band back in high school.
Mm-hmm. We all did.
Yeah, and so I like that. I never played anything like Dancing All Night or, you know, much of anything unless it had like a peripheral or was DDR.
Right.
So I don't know if this is actually a quote-unquote good rhythm game or not. I'm enjoying it because it's Yoko Shimomura's music, and it's very forgiving.
Oh, okay.
So the way it works is that you've probably seen the video where it's you know, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are running on a music sheet, and enemies line up, and you have to press the buttons in time to hit the enemy, right?
Right.
So you have L1, X, and R1 to do attacks, and based on whoever is up, you know, whoever's lane the enemy is in, you know.
Right.
Like L1 is Donald's, X is Sora, and R1 is Goofy. If there's just one enemy on the field, it doesn't matter which button you press.
Okay.
So like if there's just one enemy in a line, you can press any of the 3 buttons and it'll count as a hit.
Okay.
If there's like 2 in a line, like in a row, you have to press both those buttons.
Okay.
And you know, obviously if there's 3. The thing I've noticed is that like it doesn't seem to matter if you hit more buttons than you need to. Like if there's 2 enemies in a row, I think you can just hit all 3 at the same time and it'll still count as a hit.
Okay.
So I don't really know like if that is more difficult than like later difficulties where you have to like alternate between button presses, so you can't just do all 3 at the same time. You need those individual fingers free.
Right. Yeah.
But the difficulty I'm playing on, like, it doesn't seem to matter yet.
How far?'re not terribly far in though, right?
No, there's a bazillion songs in this game.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's just a recap game. I haven't gotten any new cutscenes yet.
Right.
But every so often you'll get like a narration from Kairi, who is summing up the story so far. So like you do
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, so like you know, you do the tracks. I've done the tracks for Destiny Islands, for Traverse Town, and Wonderland, and they're just like, here's a cutscene and here's some footage from the old games, and Kairi is just describing what's happening.
Sure, recap episode.
Yeah. I know there's new content because I've seen it in trailers.
Oh, good. Yeah, it has to exist.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it yet. There's 2 nice things about it, about this so far, though. One is that I get to hear Alison Stoner's voice.
Sure.
Which is good because I like her more than Hayden Panettiere. So if you don't know, there's a very weird thing about Kairi's voice acting in the various games.
No, I don't know this.
Which is that in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, she's Hayden Panettiere.
Right.
Who is also a film actress.
Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, yeah.
Yeah, she was in Heroes. In various of like the various like spin-off games, like Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories or RE Chain of Memories, and Days, and I think Birth by Sleep as well, because I don't think they got. I think that they were all really young in that one, so I don't think they got any of the original voice actors for that one. But in like Days and Recom, they use Alison Stoner, who is Shion's voice actress.
Okay.
To do, because Kairi doesn't have too many lines in there. It doesn't really make much sense to get a big name actress like her. And then I guess they just decided that Alison Stoner should just be Kairi because she's Kairi in 3.
Oh, okay.
So I think they're just like, well, it's not really worth it to get her all the time. let's just use her backup more.
Sure.
As like the official one. And hearing her in 3, I'm like, I actually kind of like this a bit more. The other nice thing is that the cutscenes, the recap cutscenes are 60 FPS, which they were not in the original games.
Oh, good.
I'm like, that's kind of cool.
They look nice and pretty now. That's good. Okay.
There's a weird thing where the gameplay is in 60 FPS, but the cutscenes aren't. So like you get through a lengthy cutscene and then you get like buttery smooth 60 FPS gameplay, and you're like, what the fuck?
What's going on? My eyes.
Yeah. So it's not bad. I'm enjoying it. It is just a rhythm game, but I'm excited to see. Like from what I heard, there's some like plot hooks that get dropped later on that I'm like, ooh.
Hey, that's kind of Kingdom Hearts recap games.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also chock full of collectibles, which have like, portrait or character art and stuff like that, and frame some cutscenes and stuff that's all like, ooh, gimme. And again, it's Yoko Shimomura's music. And
I mean, yeah, that's like part of the reason some people are even in Kingdom Hearts. It's just like, oh yeah, Yoko Shimomura's music. It's fine.
Also, the Kingdom Hearts 3 OST came out like around the same time. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, that's well over 100 songs, because it also includes all of these songs from 2.8 and from Union Cross.
Oh, nice. Oh my god.
So it's just got everything. It's
just packed.
3, Remind, 2.8, and Union Cross. So everything.
Absolutely bursting at the gills with Kingdom Hearts music.
Also, this didn't happen on the Kingdom Hearts 2 soundtrack, because that had remixes of original Disney songs. It had, Atlantica had all the Little Mermaid songs, right? Mm-hmm. The OST never got released in English, so they're only the Japanese versions of the songs. Kingdom Hearts 3 does include the original recording of Let It Go, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, how nice! Okay.
Yeah. So it's got both the Japanese and English version. So I was like, oh, that's neat.
Good.
What else did I play besides that? I played Marvel's Avengers because I beat Miles Morales, and I'm like, I need more superhero stuff. So I played Marvel's Avengers.
Oh. How's that treating you?
It's a beat 'em up.
Sure.
It doesn't play bad. It doesn't play bad.
Oh, of course not.
They did a lot of work to make each character feel a little different. Like obviously, like Hulk and Thor hit a lot harder. Iron Man is more aerial combat based. Cap and Black Widow are more like brawler style. Like Black Widow is a grappler. She has a grappling hook to pull enemies closer to her.
Sure.
Cap is probably my favorite. Cap plays real fun. Okay. He's got the shield. You can just throw the shield and it bounces all over the room. He can block attacks with it. It's really cool. Kamala also feels pretty cool to play as. She's got the big stretchy arms, so she's all about like not grappling, but she can like cling to environment, and like her arenas are like lined up to like let her jump on ledges and stuff.
Sure.
But it's just in comparison to Insomniac Spider-Man.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
It's really, really lacking in just like style and like just like any sort of like flair or personality.
yeah. Like it has no personality or any heart.
Not even heart. There are some really nice moments, because I'm not super. I only played it today. Like I'm not super far into it at all. There are some really nice moments. Okay, so the intro of it is Kamala when she's like 12. Mm-hmm. And she's like, she won a contest to a fan fiction contest to go to like the big Avengers press conference in San Francisco, right? Mm-hmm. So she's got her backpack and she's all blinged out with a Captain Marvel t-shirt, and she's got like phone charms attached to her, the side of her backpack and all that. And there's her dad in a checkered collared shirt with a tucked into his khakis,
Yeah.
And he's got the press pass, which has all like cartoon versions of the Avengers on it. Mm-hmm. And it's total dad at a con.
Sure. Massive dad at a con vibes.
Just, he's happy his kid is having a fun time. He doesn't get any of this. He doesn't understand a single thing. You know, she's running around doing, you know, going to like there's like an arcade you can play a Hulk smash where she puts on the Hulk hands and smashes down to ring the bell. And she's like, "You saw me won the Hulk thing, right?" And he's like, "Yep, I was watching." And he's just like, he's over at the cafe, he's like at the food stand just getting some ice cream, and he's like just completely out of place. And I was like,
yeah.
You know, if you've ever dragged your parent to a con, it's that exact energy. So I thought that was really nice.
Vibes.
So there's stuff like that. But yeah, her fangirlism feels very mass produced.
Sure.
You've probably seen the concept art of like her bedroom, where she's got like the posters and they're all like framed and neatly organized. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is a Kohl's catalog.
Yeah.
Of fans' bedroom.
Yeah, it's not what an actual like fandom bedroom looks like. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, my thing is still just, boy, Deus Ex really had to die for this. So that will always stick in my craw in regards to the Avengers. This game that, by all accounts, is just kind of mediocre. You know, we had to have DX get shelved basically indefinitely so that Eidos Montreal can make this game that has been, by all metrics, just a catastrophic disaster for Square Enix. Which, I mean, you know, like, good. You know, Eidos Montreal sends its regards as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this could be a good game. This could have been a good game.
Sure.
But I don't think it's going to end up being one, because I'm pretty sure a lot of their plans are going to get shelved after not selling nearly enough.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing that always happens. Don't make your fucking 10-year video game. If you have a plan to make a 10-year video game, unless you are Yoshi P, don't. Give up. Turn back.
If this was not a game as a service and it was just, we're going to put this out and it's got a campaign and you level up your character and there's no microtransaction. If this was just the Spider-Man gameplay loop,
sure,
it would have been fine.
It would have been
absolutely fine. You could have put 1 million characters in it and it would have been great.
And a bunch of fucking costumes and you know, have people just unlock costumes constantly and that would make people fucking giddy. But instead you have to pay for all that shit. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Especially in a year like this where we are not, for once, hooked up to the MCU drip feed.
Yeah.
You know, like, we've been spared just constantly having superheroes shoved in front of our eyeballs, and you can actually, like, culturally take a step back and be like, maybe I've had enough of this, you know? Like, putting that game out this year when, like, I think demand for superhero stuff is pretty low unless you are a Spider-Man, because, you know, you're still coasting on goodwill from, like, Spider-Verse and shit. I don't know.
And, like, even the Spider-Man thing is different because that has its own identity still.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Spider-Man PS4 has its own identity.
This is so based on the MCU.
And, like, the thing is that it's based on the MCU, but when you look at it, it just kind of has the feeling of like, sad MCU, actor, like, reenactment at a birthday party.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The likeness stuff is real bad.
And I mean, like, of course, they're not going to get the likeness rights to all of these, like, highly paid Hollywood actors. But in that case, like, why even try to be just the MCU? Like, go harder into its own, like, the way Spider-Man did. Go into its own identity. Like, be bold enough to be like, yeah, no, this is the Avenger video game universe or whatever.
It's just like, you know, you have the cast you start off with is the same as the MCU Avengers, like one for one. When you could have gone way more old school, or you could have gone more abstract with it and picked a bunch of different characters that would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Because, like, at this point, I don't fucking think the two Hawkeyes or Ant-Man are going to come out.
No. You fucked up. You should have made Hawkeye have his dorky pointy mask costume instead of...
absolutely should have done that instead of Baldman.
Instead of white video game Baldman, Commander Shepard. The male Commander Shepard.
It's just really annoying to see this and to also think about, for one thing, we had Spider-Man, and then we also had Ultimate Alliance 3, which has such a much stronger identity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to this. Like, incredibly well done. Those character designs are all phenomenal.
Right.
The world feels so much bigger and more expansive and more fun as a superhero thing.
Sure, and I mean, everything is so colorful and kind of cartoony. And has extremely solid designs for all of the different superheroes.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, when you think about, like, Insomniac Spider-Man, like, obviously Miles Morales has a lot more identity and a lot more style to it than the original one. But, like, even thinking about the original compared to the Avengers game, I'm like, wow, even the henchman designs, like the armored soldier type designs, have way stronger designs than the ones we're seeing here. Like,
oh yeah,
the environments are so much more alive than this, and it's just like, this isn't really a tribute to Marvel Comics.
No, it doesn't feel like any kind of love letter to the concept of the Avengers, the way that, like, even having played just a little bit of Miles Morales, the way that, like, Spider-Man PS4 is so very blatantly just like, hey, we really like this character, and we really want to do something cool with it, Yeah. Like, Avengers does not feel like that. It doesn't look like that. It just looks like Disney gave us a shit zillion dollars to make an Avengers game, and we have to maintain brand integrity, so it has to be kind of synergized with the movies, so make sure everybody looks kind of like their movie iterations, but not enough to have to pay anyone.
Yeah, not enough.
And it's just Deus Ex died for this.
It's a shame that Nolan North's Iron Man is wasted on this game.
Right.
They got like a fucking all-star of like cast of like some of my favorite voice actors ever, and they're trapped in this.
And they're trapped in this game. It's like, man, what a shame. You got the whole cast of the cast of Critical Role basically in your video game, and you use them on this.
I made a tweet about it where it's like Miles getting his own game in the Insomniac Spider-Man universe, while Kamala and Kate Bishop are trapped in the Avengers game, is exactly like how Kitty Pryde, Bobby Drake, and Johnny Storm escaped the hell of the Ultimate Universe by becoming Ultimate Spider-Man characters.
Yeah.
Well, the entire Ultimate Universe was on fire except for Spider-Man. They're just like, we'll just become characters in your comic now. We live in
your line now.
We live in Aunt May's attic now. Please save us.
Oh God, don't let us get canned with the rest of this godforsaken universe.
Reed Richards is evil now. Please let me live in your attic.
Aunt May, can I take the trash out for you, please?
Shadowcat and Iceman show up at Peter's house. They're like, they killed Wolverine. Can we live here now? Not even Wolverine was safe.
They'll do anything. It's so dark. Oh God.
Wolverine and Cyclops are dead. Do you think we have a chance if we stick with the Ultimate X-Men comic? No, please let us live here.
We'll do anything, please. Oh my God.
So it's just the exact same thing. Like, Miles is like safe in his own little good video game. Meanwhile, the other two most popular.
Be happy.
The other two most popular legacy characters have to languish in Avengers.
Oh, God, it's so tragic. I'm sorry.
That's assuming Kate Bishop's DLC even comes out again at this point.
Well, we shall fucking see. It's so dire. But I mean, in a way, you do love to see it because in my heart of hearts, I always love watching AAA games. It's like games like this, I love watching them flop.
So here's the best thing. Here's the best part about it is that, announcing Clint Barton Hawkeye and then Kate Bishop Hawkeye is you can totally tell they wanted to announce Black Panther and then Chadwick Boseman died.
Oh, yeah.
You absolutely know their plan was Hawkeye, Black Panther, then maybe Hawkeye later, and they're like, shit, we cannot put Black Panther in our game yet.
No, and you know what? Good. I'm glad. I do hope this game just continues to crash and burn. I mean, it'll suck because they'll probably shutter Eidos Montreal, which, fuck. But, like, just let them make Deus Ex. To this day, I live in constant... for one, I think the funniest piece of trivia out of all of this is that this game has been such a massive flop that its, like, player base on Steam has evaporated essentially overnight. But you know what still has more concurrent players than the Avengers?
What's that?
Deus Ex Human Revolution.
God.
Yeah. Or it might be Mankind. It might be Mankind Divided now that I think about it. But it's one of the Eidos Montreal. You have to laugh so that you don't cry because, like I was saying, how does Square Enix never learn when it comes to their Western devs? They had such a sleeper hit on their hands with Human Revolution. Like, nobody, to this date, nobody thought Human Revolution was going to be good when they announced it. And when it came out, nobody thought it was going to be good. And I still remember, the weekend that game came out, and my little baby social media, so basically, I think it was 4chan and Tumblr back in the day, was, blowing up because everyone was like, no, Deus Ex is really good. You should play it. So I went and I got it. And I just remember literally just playing it nonstop for an entire weekend because it was so good. And it was this huge, just sleeper hit. It sold great. And it was a good video game. And everybody was so pleased. And then, Square Enix was like, well, we're going to fuck you now. We're going to take your game, and we're going to fuck you, and we're going to make sure that you only get half as much development time on the sequel, that you want to be bigger, and then we're going to tell you to basically release an unfinished game. And then, oh man, can you believe that it didn't review as well, and it sold poorly?
I really liked Mankind Divided, a lot. I really enjoyed Mankind Divided, and I was very excited to see where this story was going to go. And it didn't go.
It sucks because Mankind Divided, what I played, I didn't finish it. I got about halfway through it. And I wasn't quite loving it the way I was loving Human Revolution. But, in its defense, it was half fucking finished.
Yeah.
It's literally half of a video game. I mean, as in, out of the blue, Square Enix called Eidos Montreal and was like, hey, you have to release this game 6 months earlier than we planned. And they had to scramble to get it put together with, what they had. And so whole levels and, concepts were just axed at the door. Of course it didn't jive with some people. It wasn't done. Yeah, so Deus Ex sends its regards, I think of that bit in, Game of Thrones where Grandma Tyrell is telling Jaime, tell Cersei it was me, vis-a-vis poisoning, Joffrey. And I'm just thinking of that scene, but it's Adam Jensen. It's it's Elias Tufexis doing his voice, just being like, you tell Square Enix that it was me,
It's such a shame. I should really be enjoying this game because I'm a huge MCU shill and I love Marvel Comics.
Sure.
And
yet,
the one thing I'm both dreading and eager is because they announced PS4 was going to get Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I am excited to see what their Spider-Man is going to look like so that I can do a 1-by-1 comparison to Insomniacs.
And be like, this one sucks. I'm going back to the Insomniac one. Like anybody with a half-functioning brain stem. Alright, what else you got, man?
So on Halloween, Melissa and I finally got around. I fought for the first time. She watched it a few times. We watched Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, I still have not watched it. How'd you like it?
It's really good. It's gonna be a yearly watch from now on, just like Klaus's for Christmas.
Yeah, it seems like a good staple watch.
Yeah, once a year you watch the whole thing. It's only like 8 episodes.
Okay.
Or 6 actually. Well, there's 12 chapters and there's 11-minute shorts.
Sure.
Very good, very fun, adventurous, heartwarming story. Mm-hmm. Definitely worth all of the praise it gets. There was a twist in it that I had no idea happened, so that was a fun thing to discover about this 5-year-old series.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because it was so ubiquitous for a while there, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it just from the screenshots and like clips or whatever, you can kind of get the idea. It's 2 brothers on a quest of some kind to get out of a forest, and they encounter magical creatures.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really good, really, really fun. I like that a lot. So if you haven't seen it, I won't talk too much about it then.
Yeah, no, I have not seen it. Sorry.
It was on. It's on YouTube, so I just bought the season for like $9.
Oh, okay.
So we can have it on my account from now on.
Sure.
And then as far as other things go, I don't think I mentioned this, but I watched the Matt Turk Summoning Salt Quest to Beat Matt Turk video.
I started that and then got distracted from work and haven't had a chance to finish it.
That's Summoning Salt's magnum opus.
That
is an incredible tale.
Every single one of his fucking videos is just incredible. You know, like
he is
so
up
good.
there. It's him, and Steve 1989 MRE are the two of like, you have found your niche, and I could watch you guys talk for 8 hours straight.
Oh sure, 100%. I could listen to Summoning. So I mean, his videos are all very like, I won't want to say samey, but I mean, he hits the same kind of notes every time. Because I mean, like, these stories all have very similar stories kind of wrapped around them. Yeah. And like, that's totally fine. I love it every single time. Like you said, it's like, and nobody thought this record would ever be broken. And then it was, and we both go, oh!
No way!
Because we're idiots. We have peanuts. We have peanut brains.
It's like, it's a video that came out in 2019, and it's like, and the record was set in 2012, and nobody thought it could be beaten. And there's like 15 minutes left of the video, and we're both still just like, what?
Oh my god! Yeah, every single time.
And then Home starts playing, and you're like, oh my god.
Let's go. Yeah.
The Matt Turk Quest to Beat Matt Turk video is phenomenal. That and what was it? He put out it wasn't the Frap Snowland one. It was
the Perfect Mario Kart one?
Yeah, the Quest for World Record Perfection, where it's just an entire organization, a team forming to take out one Mario Kart 64 player.
Right, yeah.
Are both incredible. So so those are both super highly recommended. I could watch him talk all day, and same with Steve 1989 MRE. I watched that with Melissa next to me, and then she doesn't pay attention to half of it, and she, which is fine by me.
No, it's totally fine.
She just looks up sometimes and goes, "Ew."
Ew, that's me. Ew. Ew.
And then as far as Transformers, nothing too big. I got Jazz. Power of the Prime's Jazz. He turns into an arm.
Neat.
On top of, a car. That's an amazing thing to me. Mm-hmm. Is that for one thing you built a toy that turns to a robot into a car? That's witchcraft to me. But then it also can turn into an arm.
But just an arm? Like, does the arm connect to anything?
Yeah, because Power of the Primes and Combiner Wars. Well, obviously, Combiner Wars is about combiners.
Sure.
Which is, when 5 robots turn into one big one.
Voltron.
Yeah. So, Power of the Primes is compatible with Combiner Wars sets.
Oh,
so
I have smush them together even more.
Yeah, I have Elita 1, who is the torso and head, and she can link up with any 2 arms and legs. They're all compatible with each other.
That's neat.
So I got Jazz because for one thing I wanted a Jazz in general, and I'm like, ooh, this one can. I'm 2/3 or 2/5 of the way through a combiner now.
I have almost one whole robot.
And I tried to look up because there's a bunch of Dinobots in that one, and I would have gotten them, but the Dinobots are expensive, so no, I won't. I'll have to find some that are a little bit cheaper.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I got Jazz, and then I also got a. What?
Go ahead. No, sorry, I'll tell you in just a second.
Jazz and Smokescreen from the Prime series, because his design is really, really slick in that.
Okay.
He's cool. His robot mode looks cool. His transformation sucks. I cannot get it to lock in properly.
Oh, dang.
It just feels kind of loose, and I'm like, there should be pegs here that click into place.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. I've tried to watch a video. There's a YouTuber named Mgo who just does Transformer figures. He's really high energy. He's a huge goofball. He has a lot of fun with messing around with them and transforming them and stuff.
Sure.
But he always he has reviews, and then he has Just Transform It, which is silent videos where he just turns the robot into a car.
Oh, to show other people how to do it.
Yeah, because the directions can sometimes be vague.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I watched that, but I'm still just I'm not getting something here because he's not clicking in right. But his robot mode looks super cool.
Oh, okay.
Sam, what were you gonna say?
I'd never watched the H Bomber Guy video on the Transformers movie until last week.
Oh.
And I finally watched it. I didn't know that movie was so weird.
It's a really weird movie.
I knew that Optimus Prime died in it because, that's what everybody knows about that movie, of course. Mm-hmm. But, I didn't know that it was so, equal parts, bleak and also just kind of stupid.
It's
a cartoon movie for the Transformers in the 1980s. I'm not expecting, incredible depth here.
But, it's incredibly dark.
Yeah, no, it's very bleak. It's not that they killed Optimus, it's that they kill everybody.
Everyone. So, okay.
They kill everybody.
So, when I first watched the Transformers 80s movie, it was after I had, I wasn't really into it as a kid, super hardcore into it. I was big into the Beast Wars characters.
Right.
But not so much the show. And then I had watched, the Bay movies. I think there were 2 at the time when I watched the 80s movie.
Sure.
And I also really liked Transformers Animated at the time.
Right.
So when we were watching it, and, we're all just sitting around watching it, and, the first opening scene is where Megatron breaks into a shuttle, and he murks a bunch of Autobots. And I was like, ha ha ha, look at those jobbers that just got, those no-name jobbers that got whacked super hard. And my friend Max looks at me and he's like, that was Prowl. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, and they just go around just murking everybody.
Everyone,
oh my god, it's a horror show. Oh, no wonder kids were so traumatized. I knew that Optimus Prime died, but I did not grasp the body count in this children's movie.
It's insanely high.
It's so
like, hold on, let me see if I can pull up the TF Wiki, because I'm pretty sure the TF Wiki has a body count for the Transformers movie.
And while you do that, though, I need to understate. I was watching this H-Bomb video, and he talks about the one that gets murked, and you can see the light leave his eyes, and smoke starts pouring out of his mouth. And I was just thinking in my head, I was trying to put myself in the shoes of my 10-year-old self who was utterly traumatized by The Nightmare Before Christmas, okay? That little version of Sara saw that movie in theaters and had a screaming fit at Oogie Boogie at the end of it. When I was a kid, I made my dad leave the theater during Beauty and the Beast when he caught her in the fucking the West Wing or whatever it was.
Oh, God.
That scared me, and I had a meltdown in the theater, and I made my dad, leave. I made my dad take me out of the theater because I was so scared. Which is weird that I'm so obsessed with horror shit now, that I just love spooky shit so much. I was a little crybaby as a kid. And so, I'm watching this, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of, my younger self, potentially watching the Transformers movie, and I think I would have gone catatonic. It would have been possibly, thank God I'm not a Transformers person, I guess.
Yeah,
it probably would have been the most traumatic moment of my life.
Yeah, you weren't a fan of this beloved show that was the defining moment for a lot of children back in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
And then you get to go to the theater and watch this fun movie where Optimus Prime will save the day. No, actually not.
They kill Prime, and they one robot just dies gruesomely on screen, and I'm just look, I'm a big fan of traumatic children's media. I do think everybody should have their Nightmare Before Christmas, that thing that as a child you watched it and it probably scarred you a little, but then you grow up and you watch it and you go oh, this is exactly my shit, and it might be because that movie inflicted a brain scar on you, and I'm a fan of that. I think all children should have that experience at least once or twice. It's a growing thing. But that's a lot.
Okay, so
especially because I can only imagine just being in that theater, because Oogie Boogie, if you're a little boy, Oogie Boogie is probably really funny because little boys like bugs. I know it's a stereotype, but
we had a whole set of products about making jelly bugs that you can gross your sister out with.
Yeah, exactly. Boys are socialized to think bugs are cool. So of course, if you're a little boy and you see The Nightmare Before Christmas in theaters, you're oh, cool, he's mad at bugs, that's neat. And of course, here I am having a meltdown. But I feel if you saw the Transformers movie in theaters, there is not a child in the audience who would not have that react. Could you imagine? Just put yourself for a minute in the shoes of some mom who took their kids to see the movie, this movie, and you're suddenly in a theater that is absolutely packed with sobbing 9-year-olds.
It's okay. So I did find a list, and it's funny because of the number of deleted scenes from the movie and storyboarding segments, it's actually up to debate for a lot of these characters.
Oh no.
So here we go. Confirmed dead: Prowl, Ratchet, Optimus Prime, Starscream, and Huffer. Presumed dead: Ironhide and Brawn. Those are major characters.
Well, yeah.
Prowl and Ratchet and Starscream are all pretty big characters. Brawn was a pretty significant character.
Yeah, that's 7 characters. That's a lot in a movie. Even in any movie.
And then these characters were transformed into other characters by Unicron in the movie. The Decepticons, Megatron, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Shrapnel, Kickback, and Bombshell were all turned into different characters. Megatron was turned into Galvatron.
Sure.
Skywarp and Bombshell were either Skywarp was turned. No, was it Thundercracker? It was Bombshell, and I think it was Skywarp were turned into Cyclonus. But the way it's framed is weird because the narration, the Unicron says Cyclonus and his Armada, and the idea is that like Cyclonus turns in and gets one of them turns into Cyclonus, and they all rest turn into like a Armada for him to control. Mm-hmm. But there's only one other character in the shot, and the character also looks like Cyclonus, and then Cyclonus never gets an actual Armada.
Oh.
So it's actually a really hotly debated thing as to which one of them is Cyclonus.
Well, it is still an animated movie from the 1980s with all of the budget and care that would go into that. It's the same thing as asking which one is the red or blue one. Is Frenzy blue or is Rumble blue? Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I already know that one. But then characters who were dead according to the storyboards are Trailbreaker, Red Alert, Shockwave, Smokescreen, and Mirage. What the fuck? That's so many. And possibly Wheeljack as well. They really did just why are you crying over these characters? Don't you want new toys? Yeah. I can't even imagine making, this show, and by extension this movie, this show exists to be a commercial. Yeah. For toys. And, to me, there is something so baffling about making your commercial be about, war deaths. The insane thing to me, the absolutely baffling thing to me is that, the whole movie is about, eventually Unicron attacks and they have to stop Unicron, right? Sure. And then Hot Rod becomes Rodimus Prime and he's the new leader of the Autobots. Right. Get excited for the next season. Right. You could have just been Optimus gets injured and then Hot Rod has to step up and save the day. And then we're gonna focus on these new Transformers in a new place or something. Optimus is well, we have to make sure Unicron is gone for good. I'm going to take these characters that don't have toys anymore, and we're going to go to space to make sure Unicron doesn't return. Right. Here are some new action figures. Bye. I'm so excited. Please purchase these new. But no, they immediately jump to murder. Their first instinct was yeah, let's just kill all these characters. And then they were yeah, we're going to show this to children. And I... It's so... You have to be a psycho to make that leap. You have to be an actual, psycho to immediately leap to, we're going to kill these characters in front of a bunch of kids. And, I know that the people who made this movie did not realize that they had accidentally made, a cultural icon. Yeah. But the purpose of the TV show is a commercial, and in that way the commercial is supposed to make you feel emotionally invested in these characters enough that you want to buy the toys. That's the whole point. That's why they're characters and they have quirks and stuff. You're supposed to find a character amongst all of those that you vibe with, and then hopefully you pester your mom and you go buy one, and then he's got his friends and you gotta buy those too, and it's easy. So the whole purpose of the show was to get these kids emotionally invested in these robots. Thanks, Kat, I'm glad you agree. And then you're just gonna off them yeah, it's dire. Insane. It's insane. We gotta move on. We gotta get to the news, man. We do. That's it for me. Okay. We gotta go to the news. Next month I'll probably have a lot more to talk about with them. Sure. So yeah, news, but some news happened. Not a whole lot because it's only been a few weeks, but we'll get through what we got. Sure.
Introducing the world and characters of Final Fantasy 16.
Boy, those are some names.
These are some interesting names. We've got Clive, Josh, and Jill.
I love those Pac-Man ghosts. Josh, Jill, and Clive. Yeah, absolutely. You know?
I wonder if we're going to get a thing, like in Final Fantasy VI, where Terra's Japanese name is Tina, because in Japan, the name Tina is exotic and foreign.
Sure. Clive.
So, I don't know.
I do. I just think of the Pac-Man ghosts. That's all I hear when I hear that name. And Clive Owen.
They sound like Tales characters or Fire Emblem characters.
They sound like Lunar characters, which is a weird one because I know you haven't really played like a Lunar, but like just, you know, like, I mean, yeah, I guess if they're trying to go old school, then it kind of tracks because like even old school Final Fantasy characters had weird names. I mean, like Butts or Barts, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
His name is Butts, you cowards. And so like, I guess that, I mean, like, you know, the main character of Final Fantasy IV is named Cecil. You know?
But even that sounds like more like fantasy-ish.
That just sounds kind of dorky to me. Cecil, you know? I don't know. I guess Clive, it's very funny to me. I'm very excited for this video game, like a lot. I just think these names, I'm like, you know, I liked the goofy names in Final Fantasy 15. Okay, I didn't like all of them, but I like the two main characters' names, or the main character and his fridged girlfriend's names. Yeah. I liked Noctis and Lunafreya. I'm like, those sound nice. Those are like proper Final Fantasy, like fantasy-ass fantasy names.
You know, you think Cloud, Tidus, Zidane.
Sure.
Squall.
Yeah.
Locke, you know.
They're very, you know, they're simple names.
Even
Clive,
Lightning.
Yeah. You know, Clive it's the correct syllable. That's for sure. You've got the right amount of syllables in your main character's name. I don't know. By the end of it, I'll probably be on board with this guy being named Clive.
Yeah.
Knowing me.
We'll get used to it.
Once I get used to it, I'll be like, yeah, sure, Clive. I've played enough Tales games. The main character of Tales of the Abyss is named Luke, for fuck's sake.
And, you know, you think about the coolest, most badass chick in Vesperia is named Judith.
Yeah, grandma name all the way. That's true. So yeah, you know, maybe it's a redemption. You know, after I played Vesperia, I was like, no, Judith is a cool name. Now.
Yeah, you'll just start associating, like, I mean, you should already be associating Jill with a cool character.
That's true, I do. And you do understand that Joshua is like extremely fucking dead, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like it talks about how he like cries because he has to eat his vegetables. I look at this little boy and I'm like, I'm so sorry. You are the most dead that any video game. That there is the only characters that have ever been more dead in a video game are Velvet's Village in the beginning Tales of Berseria. Okay. Like, that was a whole village basically named, like, Tragic Backstory Land. Like, you know what I mean?
You ever see that fucking comic where it's, like, every JRPG ever, and it's that little boy who's telling the hero, like, you gotta go out to the village for a few minutes. And the grandpa's like, come listen to my sad backstory, grandson. Then he leaves and he comes back and the village is on fire and the little kid's like, you will never fucking guess what happened.
That's exactly it. You know, like, although, who knows, maybe this is all gonna go like Tales of Berseria as well, and the little brother is actually gonna be the worst character in the game. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so that was cool. Here's a blast from the fucking past.
Oh no.
Supernatural actually made Destiel canon-ish.
Do you ever just feel like you're going insane all of the time and then something will just happen and like really push you over to it? I just kind of remember like and it's incredible. I've never seen a gay love confession be more homophobic in my life.
He got dragged to super permanent hell for being gay.
He gets dragged to super permanent hell for being gay. Yeah, absolutely. And like Is the acting in Supernatural always this bad? I've never actually watched an episode of Supernatural in my life, but I did watch that scene because I too was fascinated by the dumpster fire as everybody else. And I was just watching it, and I'm like, really? This show has run for 15 years? For 15 fucking seasons? This thing? Because this acting is bad. Is Misha Collins always been this bad of an actor? Tumblr really lost its mind over this guy? Okay.
I just think this is amazing. Just like...
It's incredible. It's incredible to me.
What a way to first off discover the show is still on the air.
Sure. And
the other thing is I found out on Twitter before I found out on Tumblr, which just goes to show like how many people on... Like, for sure that Twitter is just the new Tumblr of 2015.
No, absolutely. Twitter has fully completed its transformation into 2011 to 2015 Tumblr.
Yeah.
It has now it is now that, and now Tumblr is the best social media on the internet. It's the best social network, and yeah, it's boggling to me that it took this long and it was that shitty. It was like the most. They just didn't even try. Like, what are they even? They were like, yeah, we're really gonna make Supernatural relevant again. Like why?
How do you... Okay, so here's the other thing, is that, like, Supernatural... Okay, so, like, thinking of the Super Hulock trio, which is it's a word that I hated to say.
Oh, God, I can't believe you actually just said that with your mouth.
So, for one thing, Doctor Who is just a ubiquitous, British standby that's popular with 70-year-old people and 12-year-olds.
Sure.
It's been on for a bazillion years, and its general audience is England. Everyone in England. It's for everyone, right?
Right.
So, like, for better or for worse, whatever you want, this is what it's going to be.
Right.
Sherlock is for people who think they're smart. Like, it was intended audience was people who think they're smart.
Desperately wish they were smart.
Yeah, and want a modern adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. It's for wannabe intellectuals, right? That's exactly who they aimed for when they were producing it, right?
Right.
How do you, after 15 fucking years of Supernatural, not realize who your target audience actually is? How do you, like, you see it a lot with, like, cartoons, like action cartoons. It's like, for boys, we gotta make the action figures. If the girls like it, then they can't. It's gotta be for boys, right?
Well, can it otherwise, yeah.
Fucking, yeah, and that's what happens, is it gets canned after 4 seasons,
Right.
Looking at you, Young Justice. Mm-hmm. But, like, Supernatural's been going on for 15 years, and they keep acting as if it's for cool guys who want a cool car and hot chicks and guys with leather coats and shotguns fighting monsters.
Right.
When I'm pretty sure the ratio of guys who watch it for that and teenage to 30-year-old girls who watch it to ship characters
at this point, yeah, absolutely.
It's 1 to 99.
I did know a dude who watched who was like a metalhead type dude who watched Supernatural, and it was like meeting Bigfoot. I'm like, who are you?
Do you want to know how badly they missed their target audience with this?
Tell me.
Do you know the only famous person I know who watches Supernatural? Travis McElroy. Do you think Travis McElroy, who I think is a great person, and I have nothing against Travis McElroy.
Sure.
Do you think he is interested in He-Man macho stuff?
No. No, absolutely. You want to hear, like, the craziest, and I wish I could remember the exact sequence of events that got us here, but, by all accounts, for some fucking reason, Stacey Abrams, somehow convinced herself to give a shit about politics because of Supernatural.
I hate this timeline we live
I know.
in.
I need to find the exact thing, but I'm never going to find it because it's somewhere on Tumblr. But I believe it. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true, but I'm choosing to believe that it is in this moment.
Isn't it like how Joe Biden is specifically responsible for like the existence of like Fall Out Boy or My Chemical Romance?
I think it's Fall Out Boy. Yeah,
I think it's Fall Out Boy. Yeah,
because lead singer of Fall Out Boy, whose name is escaping me right now, his parents met because of like working on the Biden campaign. Like, oh god, it's all so stupid. Everything is I am utterly 100% convinced at this point that we live in a simulation. Mm-hmm. You can't change my mind at this point. Like, it's all too stupid. I'm like, no. You could give me all of the proof in the world that we live in the real world. I'm like, no, this is a computer. You and I and my dogs and my cat, who is really, really aggressively begging me for food right now, and you're not going to get any while I'm recording, buddy. You've just got to wait, like, 30 more minutes. You won't die, I swear to God. We all live in a simulation right now. You know, like, I feel like I could probably, like, open the walls of my house and there'll be fucking Matrix streaming code underneath it. I don't know anymore, man.
Who knows?
It's also stupid. Who knows? It's also stupid.
Just that they made it canon and then immediately like
sent him to super hell because he was gay. Just really?
But how else could it have happened?
That's honestly true, because at this point I do think the creators are like, I think they do know, at least to some degree, that all of their viewers come from like 30-year-old women who've been watching this show for 15 years and who are still like, will they, won't they? and they can never will they. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they could never will they. So of course they got to send Castiel to super hell for being gay, because like, I mean, like, what? You think they're gonna, like, be a thing? No! No! God, no. You're so stupid. That's never gonna happen. Because they're gonna stretch this out as much as fucking possible so they could hopefully eke a few more seasons out of this show that really should have ended 13 years ago.
Yeah. So I always think about, one last thing, though, is I always think about how the only reason I know Supernatural exists is because my mom started watching it.
Oh my god.
Because one of the actors, one of the brothers, is the same actor who played Rory's boyfriend in Gilmore Girls at the time.
That's such a mom reason to start watching a show.
Which just puts that timeline in place to me.
Yeah.
When I first got on Tumblr in 2011 and was like,
yes.
What the fuck? Supernatural is still happening? Isn't that show like 10 years old now?
Oh no. Oh god. Oh god. Next year is going to be 10 years of having a Tumblr. I still have my Tumblr account. Oh god. We got to move on.
We do. We got to move on. There's a lot more stuff to get to. PT is not playable on PlayStation 5. It's trapped forever on the PS4. That's the article.
That's it.
That's it. It's on the very small list of games that are not PS5 compatible. PT's on there.
Oh, God, we live in hell. We live in hell. We're never gonna get to play PT.
We talked about this one already a little bit earlier, but it looks like Marvel's Avengers failed to do the business for Square Enix. Had a player drop of 95%.
Sorry, it's Schadenfreude.
So that is that's it. That's about it. All this
like
time.
I said, Deus Ex sends its regards, motherfuckers. People are playing all this time and effort, and the free video game about being little spacemen killing each other in a space station that you can play on your phone is doing better. It's so satisfying. Please never let it end. God almighty. I love it.
So, next one, happy N7 Day. Mass Effect Legendary Collector's Edition is coming out.
I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna buy it because
I'm gonna buy it like a fool.
I'm putting on my clown shoes and my big nose now.
Honk honk.
Honk honk. I will play through it all again and then
honk,
probably
honk,
just
motherfuckers.
Probably just stop at the ending again because I never actually did the Citadel DLC for 3.
I never did the Citadel DLC, and I never did see. They eventually added
I never did that. Yeah.
Like an ending that actually shows you what happens to like everybody you know. So if you're like a baby who listens to this podcast, and by baby I mean like 20 years old at this point, but if you're like a child who listens to this podcast for some reason, 1, what are you doing here? 2, donate to our Patreon. 3, you probably don't know, or maybe you do know, but when Mass Effect 3 first came out, it didn't have that fun little endings, the fun little ending slides that tell you what happened to all of your friends.
Once upon a time, BioWare released a game called Mass Effect 3 that was supposed to be a culmination of all of the hard work you put into Mass Effect 1 and 2. It accounted for every single choice you made in those previous games and had lots of callbacks based on your decisions. And then you got to the end and picked a color.
And then the game just ended, and that was it. The game literally just ended with no, wrap up, or where are they now? Shepard dies, and at this point I've just kind of made peace with that. Although, I think if you pick Destroy, and you've done enough shit, that it'll show Shepard not being dead, so at this point I'm like, fuck it, that's what we're going for. That's what we're going for on this legacy thing. Let's go. But yeah, it didn't show what was happening to you and your friends. It just ended. And that was it. And I was like, go fuck yourself. And then people collectively lost their minds.
Rightfully.
Good reason. And then EA had to be like, oh god, sorry.
And to be clear, this isn't I didn't like the ending. This was, you fucking lied to us about what this game would be.
Yeah, no, the ending is extremely bad, but it's also that even the most basic of telling you what happened to your all of these characters that you've spent 3 whole games getting really attached to, really, really attached to, like some people did. Not me. Definitely not me. Did not have, a weird, sustained crush on Garrus Vakarian that I'm still, carrying. With. Yeah, no, that's not me at all. Fuck you. All of these characters that you have imprinted on and fallen in love with, no, we're not going to tell you what happens to any of them. Go fuck yourselves. And then people got really mad, and you would think that with all this bad experience, and the fact that Mass Effect 3 is not really that good of a video game, you would think that I, a mature human adult in the year of our Lord 2020, would see the Mass Effect trilogy remastered and go, no thank you, I've got better things to do. No, I'm not. Ben, will you please hand me my very colorful rainbow poofy wig? I need to put it on with my clown nose and white face paint. Thank you.
After going through Mass Effect 1 probably 3 times and Mass Effect 2 probably 7 times.
Oh god, so many times.
I'm like, yep, one more time. I'll do it again.
Once more into the breach, he says, jumping right into the pits while wearing a fucking leaded shoes.
I will make my armor look like Iron Man's armor in Mass Effect 2 again and have a blast. It'll be fun.
It'll be great. And then maybe I'll kind of learn to like the ending now that I'll actually see the ending cards. I mean, probably not, but maybe it'll soften the blow.
It'll be good to see our old friend Marauder Shields again.
No!
He tried to stop us.
The true hero of Mass Effect. You deserved better. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm a huge sucker.
I'm stupid.
For that. I can't wait to play as a biotic and tackle things again as a Vanguard.
Oh God, yeah, Vanguard. That's our Our title card for that episode is just going to be the Vanguard flowchart.
Oh, it's gotta be. It's gotta be that.
It's only the Vanguard flowchart. That's the only thing that works.
Is it a Krogan? Yes. Are the shields down? Yes. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, these next two go hand in hand. So
Okay.
I'm gonna read them both off.
Okay.
So we can just have a good old chuckle. First one. Customer reportedly receives Xbox One X instead of Xbox Series X. That's the shot.
Okay.
Here's your chaser. People are getting the disc edition PS5 in their digital edition box.
Yay!
Can you fucking...
God.
So for one thing, the thing we always said was going to happen actually does happen.
But it happened at the Microsoft level. Oh my God.
It happened in people are going to want to buy an Xbox and they're going to get the wrong fucking one because you named them dumb.
They all have the worst names ever. It's not a meme at this point. Like, it's just
reality.
fact.
It's the fucking, can you imagine just like, you know, you buy the Xbox and the bad Xbox comes in instead. Meanwhile, your friend who ordered their PS5 discless edition fucking just gets the disc edition for the same price because they put it in the wrong box.
You get the disc edition, and it's like, oh, I just saved $100. Sweet. Like, man.
This is like a fucking cartoon.
It's Goofus and Gallant.
This is like, you can imagine just like the fucking, like, you know, some kind of thing where like, you know, this is fucking Donald and what's his name? Is it not Gladstone? Shit. Is it Gladstone?
Who knows?
Yeah, Gladstone Gander, who has the opposite of, because Donald is super unlucky and Gladstone has all the luck.
Right.
So
That's it.
Donald tries to get an Xbox for the nephews, and he gets a fucking Xbox One instead of the Series X. Meanwhile, Gladstone opens up his PS5 pre-order, and he gets the disc version when he ordered the discless. That's exactly what it fucking is.
Like I said, it's Goofus and Gallant. It's Goofus sends a customer the wrong Xbox X. Gallant sends a customer who ordered the discless edition a disc edition. Wop wop. You know? Jeez.
Oh my god. Just incredible.
Oh, fantastic. Perfect. Mwah.
Okay, a few more to get through here. The problem with Seraphine. We talked about Seraphine last month.
We talked about Seraphine.
The weird League of Legends character that has depression.
Oh yeah, the one that was hardcore blackpilling me in an episode where I was already pretty damn blackpilled.
It turns out that allegedly, she's just based on some social media person.
Well, it's even weirder than that because it's somebody who worked at Riot. It's his ex. Okay, so people are like, no, it's based off of the artist's wife, and I've seen the picture of the artist's wife, and it's like, okay, maybe, but okay, a few things. One, Riot has already done this before. Yeah. They have stolen the likenesses of 2 other people and gotten in big trouble for it and had to pay out. And 2, like, yeah, she's a pink-haired social media e-girl, but, like, there's a lot of similarities, and the one that sold it for me, that made it 100% positive, that they creepily stole this Riot employee's ex, like, and her likeness is, so there's a photo in that article that girl wrote of her on the beach and Seraphine on the beach, and the buildings in the background are exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
Like, that, like, so, yeah, Seraphine has a cat, but the cat is different, and they both have those I guess, those cat wing the big dorky girl glasses.
Librarian glasses.
Like the big librarian glasses.
Far Side Woman glasses.
But like one has black frames and the other has tortoise shell frames. It's like, those are pretty like standard e-girl things. But the beach picture where the buildings in the background are the same, it's like, oh, you painted over a photo of this guy's ex, like in the beach.
And the fact that, and the one that kind of got me, and this is like almost too obvious. Mm-hmm. The character's name is Seraphine, and her name is Stephanie.
Yeah, I don't know.
and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, no, yes,
yes, yes.
No,
there's enough.
No, yes.
Mm-hmm. No, there's enough evidence, especially like I said, because Riot has done this before. That I'm like, I'm convinced of it. I mean, allegedly, but no,
allegedly.
100% they fucking did this. Yes, absolutely. Some creep. And, like, maybe the artist who did it didn't know. But then again, how did those pictures, like, how did the background picture on the beach get the same? Who knows? But, like, something kind of creepy is going on here. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of it. Like, it just makes your skin crawl. No. Like, your ex... Like, no, absolutely. Looking at the pictures, there's just enough evidence that makes me go like, nope. You did that. There's people who are like, oh, it's his wife. No. Nope. This is mad creepy. Don't do that.
Just very terrifying to think about.
No, thank you. Horrible.
Again, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But for real, like, yeah, like, just look at the pictures.
Yeah, just go look at them, and like, the vibes are the exact same. Like,
Next, the teams behind the terrible 13 remake are very sorry.
Oh,
did you see this footage?
Dire. Extremely
really bad.
Like, you completely missed the point of... Like, 13 is not a very good video game. Like, it's not... I mean, it's a very bog standard first-person shooter.
Yeah.
With, like, a neat aesthetic. Like, you utterly missed the point of like, what 13's draw was. Is that it was, like, playing a comic book.
Yeah, the art style is so fucking sharp and unique. And then you just turn it into not even a good-looking...
Yeah, they
3D
look like
shooter.
they just look like they used fucking Unity assets or something. Like they just took them straight from a store.
Like source filmmaker quality.
Yeah, no, it's ugly. And even, like, did you see the video of the like what the headshot in 13 looks like versus what the headshot in, like, the 13 remake looks like?
Yeah, it's bad.
So if you don't know, if you're listening to this and you don't know, in 13, the original on the PS2, when you got a headshot, or at, like, certain moments when you would get a kill, it would do this cool, like 3 panels side by side popping in as, like, an impact kind of thing. And it was really cool. It was, like, heavily stylized, and it was multiple comic book panels. And it looked very neat. It was very punchy, and it sold this whole playable comic aesthetic that 13 was going for. In the remake, like, a single window pops up and you just have, like, a dead NPC kind of ragdolling across the map.
Bad.
It looks so bad. It's like they didn't even try. And I mean, I guess they didn't try. This is a very, dime a dozen awful remake. But it's not even made by the same people, right? Like, this is just some random company that was given the 13 game to remake.
So they wrote they straight up wrote a straight up apology letter.
Okay, are they gonna fix it?
First and foremost, we would like to offer most sincere apologies to the game's technical issues. In its present state, 13 does not meet our quality standards. We fully understand players' frustrations. The pandemic has impacted the game's production at many levels.
Oh, okay, then just delay it. Come on.
Yeah, pivoting to home working for the teams has added unexpected delays in the development schedule and the QA process. Yeah, the article even mentions...
No, that's horseshit. They got caught.
The article even mentions that, like, it says, the quote from the article from Luke Plunkett on Kotaku, who's really has a lot of articles here, because he writes some good stuff for this podcast, I'll say.
It's been in this business for a long time, yeah.
Blaming the pandemic seems pretty weak since there was surely no super important deadline they had to hit with this.
Yeah.
At least 2020 sports games had an excuse for being a little light, but nobody was demanding a remake of a 2003 shooter land this quarter or else.
Yeah, exactly. They got caught. They got caught. That's all this is that they thought they could make like a quick, easy, like put this out and make some money, and then it is extremely overwhelmingly negative on Steam right now.
So they mentioned that they're going to fix the gameplay issues, which there were a ton of those, but no mention of the art style. They don't specifically mention it. They say, finally know that we are working on a detailed roadmap highlighting the upcoming free additions to the game content, like new levels, weapons, skins, and modes for the local multiplayer. No mention of like actually putting an art style that looks good.
I'm so tired of this whole, like, we made a bad video game. Here's our roadmap for the future. Like, everybody thinks they're Final Fantasy 14. Everybody thinks they're Final Fantasy 14 or fucking Destiny. Like, you're not. You made a bad video game and nobody wants your fucking roadmap. You should have just delayed it. Just put the fucking video game out.
Yeah. Ugh. No one wanted this like that bad. No one was demanding this.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Everybody was just like, oh, they're remaking 13. And everybody was like a little, there's a little bit of hype, a little bit of buzz. And then we all moved on because we're like, well, it'll come out when it comes out. Nobody's expecting like fucking, like demanding 13 come out by the end of 2020. Just delay it. But I don't think they ever had plans to delay it. I think it was just, let's put it out and then get some hype sales, like off some nostalgia. And then it turned out catastrophically because people have eyes and the internet is a thing. You can, your bad video game remake can go viral easily.
So next is a big one. Resident Evil Village launch date leaked in massive Capcom ransomware attack.
Holy shit! Okay, so first and foremost, this sucks because this leak contains it's a ransomware thing where basically they've locked up a bunch of Capcom's shit. And they're saying, hey, you can't have this back unless you pay us, I think it's $11 million in Bitcoin.
Those last two words make this worse than I could ever imagine it to be.
Well, I mean, Bitcoin, the reason they're asking for it in Bitcoin is you can't trace Bitcoin. Like, that's the thing. And I mean, I get it. If I was going to hold something ransom, I would also demand my payment in Bitcoin because you can't trace. But once you give out like the Bitcoin, you can't trace who got it. You know what I mean?
But that's just like, oh, it's this kind of person.
Yeah.
It's a person who wants Bitcoin.
It's somebody who's going to do crimes to acquire Bitcoin. But yeah, no, the problem is that this also contains like the personal tax information of Capcom employees. Yeah,
so
which is pretty bleak.
This also does feel like it feels like the video game information that got leaked is at this point a complete afterthought for Capcom.
Yeah, no,
they're like,
I think they should just
our legal documents are in jeopardy. Yeah. Oh, what? They leaked the fucking Phoenix Wright game? Who gives a shit about that right now?
Yeah.
They got everyone's social security number.
Yeah, it's very... Like, what do you even do in this? I know that Capcom said they're working with local authorities and blah, blah, blah to try and figure out who's behind it. It's a hacker group called Ragnarlock or something like that? Right? Does it say in the article?
This article doesn't Ragnar Locker's dark web page.
Okay, yeah, Ragnar Lockers. There we go.
They're obviously Capcom themselves are being pretty tight-lipped about, whatever is being held ransom for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it sucks that it's like actual people's actual like fucking personal information.
Yeah.
There's some. I mean, the thing that really chaps my ass is that we had to find out about fucking the great Ace Attorney finally getting released through this.
Yeah, they this should be like a fun, like, haha, oh, no, Capcom's shit got leaked. Oh, damn it, don't leak stuff, guys, because that's not really fair. They probably had a big thing planned, but this is like, oh no, someone is actually demanding money from them.
Yeah.
Also, and it feels weird to be like, oh, hey, cool that you guys are making an Ace Attorney collection, I guess.
Yeah. But hey,
I hope you're okay.
We're getting confirmed that they're actually gonna put out the Daigyakutin Saiban, which the Great Ace Attorney. It's both games in one, which is very cool.
That's neat. Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes is getting renamed to be Herlock Sholmes.
Yay! Okay, so obviously they can't, put it in America. This is set in Japan harder than any Phoenix Wright game has ever been.
Actually, no, it's set in England.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah,
well then, never mind then.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I don't remember what the main character of this game is. Basically, Phoenix's like great grandpa. He goes from Japan to England with Susato and his like mentor character, and yeah.
Then in that case, they absolutely can come up with a fun, wacky pun name for him. Oh
yes. But they did say in the leak that they are going to keep. I actually think it's really neat. They're actually going to keep the Japanese characters' Japanese names. So like Susato will stay Susato, and et cetera, et cetera. I guess this means because Phoenix's actual name is Naruhodo something. I don't know what his last name is. So I guess this means that like the main character of the Great Ace Attorney is just gonna have that Japanese surname, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, it's not hard to establish that this guy is still like Phoenix's great whatever grandpa.
Yeah.
And just be like, no, our names changed over the years because that's how bloodlines work. I'm like super excited. They're gonna keep it's neat. They're gonna keep all the Japanese text. They're not gonna translate it like on screen. They're gonna just have subtitles instead. And they're gonna try and like keep it actually Japanese, because they're not really bound by like famously the whole reason Ace Attorney is the way it is in the West is because nobody expected this game to be a hit, so they gave it kind of like a westernized translation.
And now they're stuck with it.
And now they're kind of stuck with it because it was a huge hit, and so that's how we get Japanifornia. Eat your hamburgers, Apollo.
Eat your hamburgers, Apollo. Which, okay, side note, I do love that on Crunchyroll for the dub of the anime, you can get accurate subs.
Oh yeah.
Which are, they call them Naruhodo, and is it Mitsurugi is Edward?
I think it's Mitsurugi. Yeah, because the ship name is Narumitsu.
or you can do localized subs, and where they talk about eating hamburgers and they call them Phoenix and
they say they're in Los Angeles, which is great.
Which is like that's exactly what I would want.
I think I just wish that anime wasn't as ugly as fuck. Whoops.
I have a volume of the manga, and the manga's all basically just one shots by different artists and stuff.
Sure.
Where the translation goes on, because there's a one of the gags is Phoenix, Maya, Edgeworth, and Franziska enter a ramen eating contest.
Oh. And
they actually have to put in a line where it's like Maya's like, where Phoenix is like, this isn't a hamburger. And she's like, I eat things besides hamburgers.
Oh my god, perfect. Great.
So I'm really excited. There also is a rumor for Ace Attorney 7 in this.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. Let's do it.
Come on, just pull the trigger, Capcom. Do it.
I like Spirit of Justice a lot, so I'm excited to play more.
Spirit of Justice is good. It's actually quite good. So I say, let's go. Bring Apollo back. You better bring Apollo back from fucking Korean or whatever. I'll be so salty. Like, Apollo
it's definitely gonna be the last chapter is when Apollo comes back.
Sure. Because he's like my boy. I like Apollo way more than Phoenix. I'm like the only person on planet Earth who does, but whatever, it's fine. He's my angry son. I love angry Capcom sons. What do you want from me? Him and Nero are my boys.
I can't believe Dante, Virgil, and Nero have so many surrogates, and one of them is also Capcom's characters.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great. Capcom's like, no, rivals beware in red and blue, though.
What else was in this? Documents for Stadia ports for 7 and 8, Resident Evil 7 and 8. PSVR for Resident Evil 7. Interestingly enough, 3 unannounced projects. Guillotine for Switch in February. Reiwa, which has nothing known about it, in May. And Shield, which is a multiplayer shooter.
So those are their code names.
Yeah. So
okay.
No other details known about those, but those are just interesting, fun things to think about.
Sure. And then also the source code for.
Oh yeah.
The source code for. Wait for it. Umbrella Chronicles and Devil May Cry 2, the 2 that nobody was asking for.
Can you just imagine, like, Capcom looking at the list of ransoms and they're like, you can keep those.
No, it's cool. It's fine. Someone just kicks down the door at Capcom HQ and is like, they've got source code for which of our games. And someone's like, oh god, which ones? Umbrella Chronicles and Devil May Cry 2. And the whole office just goes, oh.
Oh.
Okay, well. But what is, I do want to know, what is the launch date for Resident Evil 7, or for Resident Evil 8? Does it say?
Let me see, because this article is obviously more focused on the fact that people's shit got stolen.
People's shit got stolen, y'all.
April 2021 for Resident Evil Village.
Ah, okay. So pretty close.
And then some Monster Hunter stuff as well. But I don't really know anything about Monster Hunter, so I don't know what this is going to be.
Monster Hunter Rise is what's coming to the Switch later, early next year, I think. And I think it mentions a demo for Monster Hunter Rise is going to happen, which, yeah, of course, there's going to be a demo. The demo for Monster Hunter World was wildly successful for Capcom. All of their demos have paid off massively, so of course they'll put out a demo for Monster Hunter Rise. That only makes sense, so... and it makes extreme sense to put a Monster Hunter game on the Switch because, yeah, absolutely.
That's where Monster Hunter lives, is on Nintendo handhelds.
It's on handhelds, and it's one of the biggest franchises on one of the biggest consoles that everybody loves. Yeah, do that. That's easy. That's easy money.
One more article
for
today. Naruto creator will start writing the Boruto manga.
Oh no! I literally saw people on Twitter like worried that Boruto was gonna get worse now that fuck, what's his name?
Kishimoto,
thank
Masashi
you.
Kishimoto.
I saw people on Twitter saying they were worried that Boruto was gonna get worse now that Kishimoto was back, and I think that is extremely funny.
I don't know much about Boruto, obviously, because I don't give two shits about Naruto, and I have not given two shits about Naruto since the time skip happened.
That's fair, yeah. I stopped giving two shits about Naruto about a year after the time skip happened. Even I was like, no, I'm done. I'm good. Thank you.
But I do know that no one ever liked Naruto the Last, which was the first movie about Boruto.
Right.
And also that the anime and the manga have not synced up since, like, the earliest episodes.
I think it's extremely funny that, like, by all accounts, Boruto is not a bad manga / show. That's all I hear, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. And I think it's funny that it's like, oh no, it's pretty good now that Kishimoto is gone.
Now,
yikes!
Just like it's just fucking Kishimoto putting on the Infinity Gauntlet, like, I'll do it myself.
It's funny because Kishimoto had a thing come out in Shonen Jump, and I think it flopped.
Yeah, it's because no one, it was bad. I heard. I think it was like 8 Samurai or something like that.
Something like that, and it flopped super hard. And he's like, "Well, I'll just go back to Boruto." And everybody making Boruto's like, "No."
Meanwhile, apparently, Burn the Witch is good. I don't know.
I'm shocked that we're getting more Bleach anime after all this time, and I do actually want to read / watch Burn the Witch because fuck, whatever. T-Day's designs still rule.
He's really good at designing things.
They're just so good. Who cares? They're so good. He's just so tight,
Just Just let him write a fashion manga, for God's sake.
God almighty. You know,
He would fucking kill if he was the artist on, like, just a general slice of life punk anime or manga, you know?
Yeah, that would be good. I think that would be very good for him.
Let him do all the character designs for stuff that the Danganronpa guy normally does.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Anytime
you
you think about hiring the Danganronpa guy to design characters, hire Tite Kubo instead.
Stop making me see the Danganronpa guy's art. I think it's so bad. Even if I do like Dante's in FGO, like...
You still look at him and you're like, you're a Danganronpa man.
You're a Danganronpa character. The only thing that saves you is your summer art. That's it, man. Otherwise, leave me alone, Dante's. Go away. Why are you posing like that? Can't you do anything else with your arms?
Can you do anything besides just stand still and look forward?
Basically T-posing? I guess A-posing in this case? Please stop.
Get out of here, white-haired anime boy.
I can't believe that Tite hasn't done any art for FGO yet. Now that I think about it. It'd be a good match. Anyways.
It would be great.
Alright, are we done?
Yeah, we are all done.
Yay! We thought this was gonna be a shorter episode because it was earlier in the fucking month. It was not.
We had shit to say.
We had to talk about Transformers for a really long time. Even you're giving me your fucking brain worms. I can't believe you. It's eventually I'm gonna break. I am gonna break and just read more than meets the eye.
Eventually I'm going to wear you down. I'm just gonna show enough out of context panels.
Look, you understand that if that happens, you really are going to have to play Fate Grand Order, right?
I mean, yeah, I know. I'm going to do it eventually.
It'll kill that hell you're walking into, maybe. But, like, at this point, we gotta. That's the trade-off. It's like Vesperia and Final Fantasy VII all over again. You know?
I mean, I've told you that one of the main pairings in this thing is the brooding... dark, cynical swordsman and his really peppy, energetic, shorter love interest, right?
I can't believe you're gonna do this to me.
I mean, you know, and I told you there's a scene where he talks about how he'd rather tear the stars from the sky and cut the planet in half than let any harm come to him.
You're really gonna call me out like this on our fucking podcast?
Oh, everyone follows you on Twitter. All of our listeners know what your Twitter is like.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows what I'm like, huh? Horrible.
You retweet enough Fate stuff that we know.
I know. It's grotesque. Fine. You're just gonna have to fucking live tweet your journey through FGO as payment. Definitely, absolutely. I'll wear that shame on my sleeve all day. One of us. Ben's just setting up a box with Transformers underneath it and slowly luring me toward it.
No, but for real, we are thinking about some way to work out to do That's Hell You're Walking Into that lets me also play FGO.
Yeah, so. I think I've done too good of a job of selling Ben on FGO.
So
I'm
even
like, no,
even
it's got
if
a bunch of raw shit in it, and he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, but it has a lot of raw shit in it.
Even if I do break, That's Hell You're Walking Into is not going anywhere. We might mix the format a little bit.
I mean, frankly, if you join our Discord and like read all of the discussions about Fate that we have in that fucking Discord, even playing FGO, I don't know what the fuck is going on half the time. Like, it's fine. It'll be fine. It takes a village to explain any single concept in the Nasuverse, okay?
God. Okay,
we gotta wrap this episode up.
I think we're done.
Cool.
Again, you can if you want to listen to That's How You're Walking Into, or you want to listen to our takeouts, that's patreon.com/thegorge. Just the gorge. Yeah, thank you, Broke, for reviews for background music, or thanks for Vince's review for background music this week. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. And if you want to listen to Sarah's other podcast that is doing something, I don't know this week, actually. I can't tie it in this week. I don't know what's happening.
Our brains are melted too much. Hey, I'm in another podcast called
Got it. If you want to hear Sarah talk about giant robots in another podcast.
Hey, you did it. I'm so proud of you. Hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where me and a bunch of cool queer friends get together and we play different tabletop games. We try out lots of different systems, and it's a whole lot of fun. Right now, we are still playing Beam Saber, a Blades in the Dark hack based around being mech pilots in a grand international war that covers both land and space. If you think that sounds like a good time, then head on over to Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud, and you can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Thanks.
All right, that'll do it for us.
What you got?
Fuck Supernatural for doing that, honestly. Like, I'm not even a fan at all. But even I'm like, that's some bullshit. In all honesty, you
did
it's
a bunch
hilarious.
of people real dirty. It's really funny, but you also did a bunch of people extremely dirty by literally sending your gay characters to super hell for being gay. Like, I can't believe it. It's so funny because, like, one of my friends texted me, she's a lesbian, and she was texting me in, like, our group chat, and we were talking about it, and, like, I am significantly more brain broken than her in basically every single way. So, of course, I think it's fucking hilarious, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's so bad. Like, it's so bad that you would just immediately, like, the joke is, bury your gays, like, always kill off the gay character. And it's like, I think that's a world record for revealing that the character is gay and then killing them off / sending them to super hell. I mean, it's literally 15 seconds at the most. So I guess that gets you in the Guinness Book of World Records at the very least. But she was extremely mad about it. I did feel bad for laughing at that pain. Not at her pain, but just kind of like the generalized pain in general. And she was like, how can you think this is funny? I'm like, because it's just so stupid. I'm sorry. It's so stupid and so cliche. Of course, this is the only way it could happen. This is the only way this could ever fucking happen. Like, there was no other option. And to me, that is hilarious. So, but yeah, no, fuck that. Fuck Supernatural. Supernatural should have ended, like I said, 13 seasons ago. Goddamn.
What's up, everybody? It's Castile here. Here's my Bury Your Gays world record run, and go!
And time. There you go. Oh, God. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.